Welcome to the Heart of Fauquier podcast. I'm your host, Austin Bedrosian, and today we have a special guest, Caitlin Adkins. So thank you so much for being a guest today.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
So Caitlin owns Spaces Organized and Styled, SOS. You call her when you have an SOS.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk a little bit about her and her business and something brand new that she has going on this month, which she's super excited about.
I am.
And I think you should definitely look into. A lot of value there. But first of all, if you could just talk a little bit about who you are and how your business got started.
Yeah, sure. So I moved to Fauquier right before the pandemic and was still commuting into DC. I loved my job, but when COVID happened, the commute was just too much. And so I ended up staying here. And what I found was that I loved organizing through all of my different careers. I, in each part of it, would just organize. Although I would do other things, the fun of it was just organizing different components. And what I realized is that you can actually make a living in a business doing it. And I swear I think I blacked out the night that I started my business. I don't remember how it happened, but I did it. I went online, I got the website, went onto the government, the Virginia website, got everything I needed. And then I woke up the next day and I was like,
I have a business.
I have a business.
Holy crap.
I created the Instagram page and went onto Facebook and did all that. And and then I just started, it really did snowball after that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And you started just with residential and you're continuing that, or?
Yeah, so in the beginning I actually started with both residential and commercial spaces. What I quickly found was that, during COVID, everybody was in their home. So residential was the bulk of my customers, my clients. That's not to say I didn't have commercial spaces, because I did, but it's predominantly been residential.
Yeah, very cool. And it's neat because I feel like organizing becomes an extra hot topic at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
So hopefully people are listening and they can get some tips and just get in the right mindset for a new year.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a little cliche to have, goals and whatever in the new year, but I think it is a good excuse to have goals and see them through. You don't have to be part of the percentage that drops off. So
yeah, no, it's interesting because at the beginning of the year, I feel like a lot of people, like you said, they really want to get started on a good foot. They have all these aspirations for the new year. But what you find is that if you don't actually organize them in the right way, you're not going to stick with them. So a little plug, the Warrenton Lifestyle magazine, we just did an article in January talking about your goals and planning. And what I would say is that we're about a week and a half in, so if you haven't done your goals, don't feel like you've missed that boat. You still have the whole year, and it's not too late. So take that time, really look at what you want to achieve in this year and how can you actually make that happen. So distill it down, put in quarterly goals, monthly goals, and then break those down into weekly and start actually, acting on those things.
Absolutely. And that was something that in our last interview of last year with Dennis Taylor about breaking down your goals is so important, and it helps you to get more organized with it and not just this lofty thing that you're going to do.
Right. Well, and I feel like people think that they're scheduled to, you've got birthdays or holidays, and you often hear people say, oh, that just snuck up on me, or I forgot about that. And it doesn't have to be that way. So, just with a little bit of a 30,000-foot view of your year, start planning those things out. If you have a vacation planned or, something going on with the kids, just put those things down, and they don't have to be, it's crept up on me. You can plan ahead for these things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so we're going to get back into the organizing, but to take a step back first, after you started your business, you really jumped into business community and everything Fauquier pretty much right away, and now you're pretty deep into it. So this is your first year being on the oh my goodness, what's it called? The Fauquier Chamber
of Commerce board.
Board. There you go. The board. Yeah. And you're also, leading different committees with young professionals, with lead shares, with lots of different things. Women's Business Council, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
So some businesses like to kind of be on their own and just do their own thing in their grind. And then some people really get into the community. Why did you decide to really get into the business community? And how are you benefiting? Because I'm sure sometimes you'll be like, why am I doing this? I'm doing too much, but you keep doing it. So what are the benefits?
Well, yeah, I will say too, one of the first things that I did when I moved to Fauquier is I met with the mayor of Warrenton. That was one of the first things I did. And I sat down with him at Deja Brew, and I had a cup of coffee and a conversation with him just about the community and what was actually happening here. And then when I started my business, somebody put me in touch with Rini Eunice at the George Mason Enterprise Center. And if anybody knows Rini, she just has a wealth of information and knowledge, and it kind of just spiraled from there quickly, or shortly thereafter. I joined the chamber and joined Tuesday Lead Share, like you said, the Women's Business Council, the Young Professionals, and then you kind of just get plugged in to other things and what you have an interest in. Also, Ignite Fuck Year, trying to think what else, Fall Festival.
Yeah, there you go.
I think that's it.
Lots of stuff.
But I will say, I had to take my own advice at a certain point, because being the president of the Young Professionals, in addition to everything else that I was doing, I realized it was just too much. And I had to take a step back and release the seat to somebody who could manage that role just a little bit better, and become the co-chair of it. But it is a lot, and as long as you kind of just like schedule your time, like we said, looking at your schedule at a 30,000 foot view, you can kind of see where your commitments are throughout the year and what you have coming up, and then just plan for those things. Yeah,
definitely. But at the same time, while you're doing all these things, your business has grown tremendously as well, from what I understand. So obviously, I would say that they're connected. You're getting yourself out there, and you just kind of have to push yourself to get involved and know when to say no or step back. You don't have to be the man in every group you're in, but to be involved and benefit and give value is important.
Yeah, well, and I think when it comes to giving value back, I have a lot of information when it comes to organizing, but I give a lot out too. It's not all, confidential knowledge or, intellectual property. That's the one. It's not like, it's not something that only I have. Anybody can find these things. It's just the method in which I apply it. And anytime somebody has a question, if I go and speak to a women's group, I just give it all away. Just whatever you need. Like, I'm here to help you. If you want to go a little bit deeper, we can do a session, but here's all the information that I have. You can do this. So, but I definitely think that being involved in the community has grown the business. It's helped, and it's been amazing. And if somebody is on the fence about getting into the community, just step in with baby toes. You eventually find your people, and they become, like really great friends.
Yeah, very cool. So good advice. If you're not involved in some groups and you own a business, definitely get involved. There's only benefits that you can have. So we'd love to see you. So kind of going back into the organizing and everything, when someone reaches out to you, what's the process that you go through when you start helping them and as you're helping them? Because you're not going to go in their house when they're not there and just organize everything for them. No. And you don't just drop off a bunch of plastic totes in a calendar either. So that's kind of the process to help people.
So usually when somebody calls me, they're at their wit's end. They've tried it for years. It doesn't work. They could have worked with another organizer and the system just didn't stick with them. So usually by the time they call me, they are ready for the change. So it's not a whole lot of like pulling teeth to get organized. They're there. They want to do it. And so we'll have a phone call. I'll just, chat with them on the call, see if we're a good fit. What are they actually looking for? Are they moving? Do they have a deadline? Is it just general decluttering and organizing? Like what do they need? And then we'll set up a time to walk through the space. It's usually about 45 minutes to an hour. And we're just going to walk and chat. If they've got family members who live in the home, I want them to be there to hear their input. It's, if a wife calls me and she says, I don't want my husband there.
Oh, no.
That happens quite a lot. And I said, okay. But if we're going into his space, or if it's a children's space, especially if they're older, I need to have them there because I need to have
everybody's got to be on board.
Yeah, and it affects the whole family too. And I think that's, the main thing, that in order for it to stick, it has to work for everybody. And I have to be kind of that middle person to bring both parties together. Usually you find spouses on opposite ends of the spectrum. Somebody thinks it's fine. Somebody thinks this is awful. And I'm kind of there playing the middle person to get both people on the same page. So we'll walk the space. I'll write up a plan. It's a really detailed step-by-step what we're going to do if we needed to purchase new furniture or move stuff around or whatever we need to do to get the whole home organized. We're going to do it. And then from there, it's off to the races. We're doing it. So, and then we just start scheduling sessions and and getting to work, rolling up our sleeves.
So you give homework or something like that?
Yeah, I do. And I think that's really important I give very mini homework, like just a little bit.
Yeah.
And because I think a lot of people are put off by the idea of doing homework when I'm not there. But I think it's a very important way to continue transferring my organizing skills to my clients. So it's a way for them to practice, to have it more ingrained when I'm not there. And then if something comes up, they don't get to it, it's no big deal. Yeah. We'll tackle it when I get back, or we can always adjust. So it's not life or death if homework doesn't get done.
Yeah, definitely. So I feel like it's pretty almost, I don't know if it's a trendy topic or whatever with organizing, because you see all these Netflix specials and stuff like that. So anyone who's kind of consumed by Instagram Reels or these specials, how does what you do compare to that? Do they kind of put a good view on it, or is it very Hollywoodized, and what can people expect?
I think this is like a really great question. So I'm really happy that you asked. I think at the start of my business, I really did view it from that perspective as well. We were all in our homes, and our homes, you have to remember, at COVID, we're working overtime. Our homes were not designed to work in the way that we asked them to. It wasn't designed to be lived in 24/7 for months on end. It had to change to become our home office and a school and everything else. It wasn't designed to be that way. So you did see a lot of these organizing shows pop up, the Home Edit and the Marie Kondo. All of these different things started coming up, and people were all excited about it. I mean, the Container Store, it was like the only store that was open during COVID that you could go into just to buy your containers. And that was a big part of how I viewed organizing at the time. And what I have found is that a lot of people did that. And I now have clients calling me and saying, I've tried this, I've watched the Home Edit, I've done it this way, it doesn't work, I need help, I can't get it. And I'm realizing that what I'm seeing on the Home Edit, not to criticize what they're doing, because I think they're great, but it's more putting a Band-Aid over stuff. And so my approach is a little bit different. I'm getting to the root cause as to why it's causing this issue. Specifically, has any trauma happened? Are we experiencing anything? Are we going through anything that's causing this? And how can we address those main things, rather than just putting it all into clear containers and putting it all into a rainbow with a label on it and wiping our hands and saying we're done, because that doesn't work for everybody. And I think that's super important. I get a lot of people who call me and they just have a lot of guilt and embarrassment and shame. And what you have to remember is, they have called me and I may be literally the only person that's allowed to see the inside of their home, that they don't let friends or family in because they feel a sense of, just the emotions around it. And I don't take that lightly. I go in knowing that I may be the only person that's been inside their house for 5 years. And you don't have to feel those emotions around it. There's a lot of, we should all be organized in XYZ way. And I don't see that. I see that we have to make the home work for your family and your needs. And it's not going to be the same. I can't go in with a cookie cutter approach and stamp everybody with the exact same bins and labels and the same exact way. Everybody needs their home to function in a different way. Yeah. For them.
Right. Because I feel like some people might call you expecting it to be like a show, and then some people might not call because it's so intimidating. They look at their house and they're embarrassed, like you said, or guilt or whatever it might be, and which is a shame. So I mean, people can definitely reach out and
well, and I will say, I'll have clients call and they say, I just wanted to do it on the show. And then we talk about it a little bit more and I break that down, what does that actually mean? And we'll go through it. I'm like, okay, that's possible, but you have to understand it's going to be X, Y, and Z. This is everything that you're asking for. And then they start to realize that they don't want it that way, because the way that I approach with my clients is, we're doing it together. I'm your buddy. We're doing it hand in hand. I'm your person. I'm going to be there every step of the way with you. If we try something, it doesn't work, no big deal. We're going to pivot. We're going to try something else. What I find is that if you've tried this or you've worked with an organizer in the past, that they may have implemented a system without you being a part of it, and they may just implement the way that they think it should be, and it doesn't always stick because that wasn't the best one for the family and their needs.
Okay. And I like that you've brought up people come at their wits' end, or you go deeper than just the surface level, because that's kind of branched into what you've started this year. With more coaching in addition to the organizing. So can you talk about your coaching? How did it come to be, and what is it?
So I think it came, just having a series of clients who needed more from me that I didn't yet have the tools and the capabilities to give them, but I knew that they needed. And I never set out on this path expecting to be a coach. It just kind of came about. So it's been amazing. But we do dig in deeper. And it was a series of clients who I just saw it. I saw like the trauma that they had gone through. I saw that they had still a lot of pain, that they had a lot of guilt and embarrassment. And I wanted to help them on a deeper level, not just go in and declutter and organize. I wanted to get to that root issue because I didn't want to leave and in 6 months it goes back to the way that it was. I mean, that's the absolute worst fear of mine, is like, we leave the home, they're all happy with it, but they can't maintain it. Then we didn't do it right. And it may not be that the system was wrong. It may just be their emotions got in their way, or their feelings or thoughts got in their way, or their schedule, or whatever it may be. So going into this new year, we are pivoting a little bit to more of a holistic approach. So it's not just the physical things around us, it's the non-physical. So we're decluttering emotions, feelings, some thoughts. We're not decluttering like memories, because I think those are good, we can detach the emotion from those memories. So for example, like if I've had clients who have called me who have experienced a traumatic relationship ending, and they have a lot of emotions around that. We're going to start working on those emotions and coaching through those and helping the client, and then they can kind of detach from that. And what you find is that your space is really affected when your emotions are.
Interesting.
So
it's just they're kind of getting their self organized, and so they can organize what's going on around them a little better and think clearly.
Well, and it's all kind of connected too. Like when you have a cluttered space, you're mentally cluttered. When you have a lot going on in your mind, it kind of comes out into your things. So I really want to help all of it.
Have you seen more people that have kind of a hectic atmosphere, and once that's changed, they change? Or is it more often that they get their mindset right and then slowly things change around them? Like, does it go both ways?
Does that really work? If I have a client who's called me and they want to work on both spaces, excuse me.
All this talking.
It is. What I found is that it's a good halfway point. So we're going to work like half the session on their physical things and half the session on like their non-physical things. So they see progress and growth in both areas. I don't want it to just be like we're pushing one forward and we're leaving the one behind. We're going to take both with us together. So like an easy way to think about that is like with a child. Like you walk into a daycare or preschool or something, and there's so much going on around them. But then when you kind of bring them into like a calmer, quieter environment, there's less distractions, less going on, and you kind of give them just a couple things to entertain themselves with. You kind of see their demeanor and they kind of lower themselves back down. And so it's the same thing with adults too. I mean, we don't have to have everything around us going on. We can kind of calm it down a little bit.
Yeah. And we have so much input with our phones, our social media, our everything, and just life in general, that can be hard. So what are the programs that you have? I know you have a free webinar coming up and everything.
So we have a masterclass that's launching that's going to be discussing more about the goals and the schedule, which we're super excited about. It'll be an hour long. Just keep a look on the Instagram. We're posting it everywhere. Also subscribe to the newsletter, because newsletters are coming out with all the information. But it's all free. You get a workbook along with it, so you can jot down all the notes. You can actually map out your goals for this year and what you're hoping to achieve. And then that kind of leads into the course that is going to be launching. It's launching the same day, doors open. And we'll have the doors open for about 4 days, I believe. And that course really is what we were just talking about. So what I see is that my clients are mostly in this area, but they're also in out of state. And we can't just limit just to the area. I love being here, but we got to
serve
help
more people.
Get to more people. So the course is really for anybody who just can't have me in the home just yet. Maybe that's because of distance or time or whatever. And it really is, let's focus on those things. So let's focus on the physical and the non-physical.
Okay.
And the non-physical kind of breaks it down to schedules, emotions, those types of things. And we're going to dig in deeper, and let's organize and declutter all of those things and get it all set.
Yeah, very cool.
So
the new program, it does entail the coaching aspect for sure, but it also has parts of organizing their home and stuff like that when you can't be there.
Yeah, the home,
the
home and work. So you can kind of like, you can take the approaches and go to either one, home or business. And then, it's also the non-physical, like the coaching as well. There's coaching calls, live calls to jump in, ask questions along the way.
Okay.
Peer groups, so you can jump into the group, ask questions with the other peers in the course. Lifetime access always. I'm sure that they were going to have like rounds of updates over the time.
Yes.
But it is the last thing that you will ever need to get organized. It's going to have it all there. And the whole goal is that if anything is to ever come up in your life, whether it's a move or you need to downsize or right size, as I call it, you need to do something, whatever I'm ever doing, whether it's the course or in the home, you're able to take it and you can go anywhere with it. It's always transferable, and these skills really are the last thing that you will ever need.
Yeah, and with the course, you can go back and review.
Yeah, that's right.
A little bit and stuff like that.
You can go back and look back over the videos and the workbooks and PowerPoint and everything else. So.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So how long has that been in the works, building this program?
Oh my gosh. I knew I wanted to do it probably a month after I actually started my business.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was something that I knew I wanted to do from the very beginning, because I saw that I'm maxing out the time that I can be in homes. I can only be in so many places at once. And I wanted to help more people. I just didn't know the exact approach on how to do that. So this last year has been course development, getting all the ducks in a row for that, like what all I feel I need to have certification-wise and teaching-wise to give to my clients and to bring to that course. So 2022 was the year for gearing up for this.
Building it all up.
Yeah.
But it gave you the time to have the experiences, because I'm sure a lot of what you've gone through with growing your business has tweaked what you put in there and everything like that. So.
Yeah, well, and it really has to, especially when you talk about the clients who have gone through something traumatic and wanting to help them on a deeper level. It's not just, let's put all your stuff in clear bins and put it in a rainbow and throw a label on it. Like let's go in a little bit deeper.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. Outside of this program, are you doing any one-on-one coaching or anything for local people, or are you just starting with this program? Yeah,
so I do have other people who've reached out for one-on-one coaching. So that is available. It's not really what I'm focusing on. I'm like really focusing just on launching this course. But I do have one-on-one coaching.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very
and then
cool.
you have one-on-one sessions for organizing too.
Yes.
So.
Okay.
All the ways to get access to me.
Lots and lots of ways.
Yeah.
Cool. So as we kind of come to a close here, we've had lots of tips, obviously, and everything, but if you could give one tip or takeaway for someone who's wanting to organize their professional life or their office, whatever it is, or maybe their business, just professionally, and then one tip or strategy for people with organizing their home life.
Okay.
I know they're broad, but just kind of a quick takeaway.
My first one, I would say, kind of applies to both.
Okay.
For both the business work as well as for home admin. And that comes to your paperwork. I generally find we are holding on to so much paperwork we actually don't need. Most of the paperwork, I mean, obviously consult your accountant and CPA. Have to put the little disclosure in there. But generally, I find we hold on to so much. You can get it all digitally. I would say put most of it onto a digital platform with a backup. Marie Kondo, if you're looking for the guru of how to do this, her method for paper organizing is incredible. It also takes the absolute longest. And that's when we talk about mini homework assignments. It takes more time than you actually think it's going to take you. So that kind of applies to both. But for the home, I would just say, if I could give one tip, is just release the expectation of what you think it needs to look like. And it can look like anything. It can look like something off of Instagram or what you see on Netflix, and it could not. Both are right, as long as it's working for your family.
Yeah, because you might have a bunch of toddlers or teenagers at home and they make it so it's not Instagram worthy, but it is organized.
It is,
and it is not chaotic for you.
Right. Well, and the goal is, you need to be able to find anything, I believe, under a minute and a half. If you cannot find what you need within a minute and a half, you're disorganized.
Okay.
We should talk.
There you go.
So
there's a golden quote right there. So
I mean, as long as you can find it, it doesn't have to look pretty. That's fine. But if you know where it's at and you can get to it, that's all you need.
That's the litmus test.
It is, yeah.
Okay, very cool. Well, thank you so much for everything, and thank you for what you're doing with the community, with your business. I think it's pretty awesome.
Thank you.
To be fellow young people in this area and have a thriving business is encouraging, and for other people that are wanting to start a business, and you can just go for it. And even if you start something, you don't have to feel stuck. You can branch out with coaching or whatever it might be. So there's a lot of opportunity in the area and a lot of community to help you as well.
Yeah, there is. It's great.
And thank you to Great Harvest for
sponsored.
The coffee or hot chocolate or whatever you brought.
Yeah.
And also thank you to Cornerstone Baptist here at Rock Point in Warrenton for letting us use their space again here. And then also you mentioned Rini, who is an amazing part of the community and wants to see people grow. At the Mason Enterprise Center on Main Street, they have a few offices available. So if you're working at a distance, or if you are starting your small business and don't need a big place but just a starter, she's someone you can talk to, whether it's their space or just to get involved with the community like Caitlin did.
Yeah, she'll plug you in.
Yes, she's the person to reach out to. So thank you so much again for being a guest.
Thank you, Austin.
And we will see you guys next time.
Thank you for joining us for today's episode of The Heart of Fauquier. If you loved joining us today, give this podcast a great review and subscribe to keep up with new episodes. If you have an office in Fauquier that needs a cleaning service, reach out to Bedrosian Cleaning Services and see how they can serve you. Until next time, thanks for listening.